All right, welcome everyone to our podcast. I'm Will.
This is Lawson.
And I'm Ben.
And today we're just going to be talking about community, how it helps with grief in both Kitchen and then in Percy Jackson throughout like a bunch of the books, right?
Yeah. We'll bring up some other examples, but we're mainly focusing on the first book, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So
and what is that called again?
Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Okay,
good book.
Lightning Thief. Okay.
All right, so Kitchen starts out with Mikage's grandmother dying, and her parents died at a young age, so her grandmother was basically all she had.
And so then one day, this guy named Yuichi shows up at her door, and Mikage doesn't really know much about him, but he was there at the funeral, and he was very helpful all around.
Yeah, and that's a good point because we can really connect that to Percy Jackson.
Shortly after Yuichi shows up at Mikage's door, Yuichi and Eriko, his mom, take in Mikage.
Yeah.
And just help her deal with the pain of losing her grandmother and give her a place to sleep.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful for her, especially because she feels so happy in kitchens, and she points out that they have a very nice kitchen with a nice view in it. It really just helps her feel a little better.
Yeah, how she talks about sort of, it's funny that she's living in another kitchen after she'd already had an old apartment.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so kind of in Percy Jackson, near the beginning, Percy's mom actually dies. She doesn't actually, but Percy thinks that she does. And so that was when he first entered camp. And so just going into a new place, feeling all alone, he never really knew his dad because obviously his dad was a god.
So
but then just
left parentless.
Yeah. Having
Orphan.
Orphan.
Grover and just other people in the camp was just super, super helpful to him.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Eriko and Yuichi, they help Mikage discover her cooking talent. She decided to pursue being a professional chef more because they just kind of pushed her, you know?
Yeah.
And having just like the access.
Community.
Yeah. So having them around her and just the access to the kitchen. And, you know, they did need somebody to help cook them food. And so I feel like all of that, you know, it kind of helped her get over her grandma a little bit. And it really just pushed her, like in the second chapter when she goes and she starts becoming a professional chef. I think that really helped her.
Yep, of course. Great point.
They all have the same trauma.
Yeah, likewise in Percy Jackson, every person at camp has someone they've lost, or at least one parent, because the gods, you know, they suck as parents. And so they go to camp to both find community and then like train to fight evil stuff. But yeah.
And I feel like that community, just having others around them in similar situations, it really just helps them to understand each other and move on. But it's also similar when Eriko ends up dying. You know, Mikage is there for Yuichi, so it goes both ways. Kind of with like the campers helping each other and with Mikage helping Yuichi.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just very beneficial in two ways, and everyone helps each other. And I feel like that's just the way that community is, you know, having others around you. It can really help you just move on from the grief and suffering of loss.
That's so real.
You're really spitting right now, yeah.
But like,
I also think that when Eriko and Yuichi helped Mikage discover her love for cooking, she used that and made Yuichi a feast when his mother died, and just used community to help.
They have feasts in Percy Jackson.
They had a feast in Percy Jackson.
They have a couple of those.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah. But also, like, when you think about Percy, you know, being all alone in his cabin, you know, he always just kind of describes it as, like, empty and lonely. And I feel like
he's the only one of Poseidon's descent.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's kind of a piece that he's missing. But, you know, when he goes off on the quest, he kind of leaves that behind him. He has Annabeth and Grover to kind of be with him and help him out, you know.
He never sleeps alone on the quests.
You know. But, you know, Annabeth, Percy wasn't the only one who lost people, you know. Annabeth and Luke, they both lost Talia when she became that tree.
So much loss.
You're right.
So much loss.
But just kind of having each other, you know, they pushed through it and they were able to recover.
Of course.
Hard
thing to do. Yeah, so one day Mikage runs to Chika and they have a conversation about how Yuichi is like being in the inn and stuff.
Yeah,
and so I remember that part about it.
If you remember, Chika actually starts crying at the end because of the death of
Yeah.
Erika.
Oh,
And
right,
so
right.
she's still clearly hurting, even though at this point it's been a couple months. And I feel like just running into Mikage, that kind of like, it really helped her get over that. And she was finally able to let out some of that grief that she was holding in. But I feel like it also helped Mikage to know that there were a lot of other people that cared about Eriko, and that
Yeah.
other people were in the same situation as her.
Good point.
Yep.
So yeah, that kind of leads into, the end of the story when Mikage is at her cooking work trip,
At the peninsula.
Yeah.
Peninsula.
And she calls Yuichi and actually ends up bringing him some food that she saw.
And that's like when Mikage brought Yuichi food to help him grieve the death of his mom. And he was in such a dark place, like drinking, and he just needed a community to support him and show that he was.
And that's
like,
really
loved.
what we're talking about in this podcast.
So it just relates back to the theme of community,
Yeah. And dealing with grief in that community. So yeah, sort of like in Titan's Curse, Percy and like his group, they grieved Bianca D'Angelo's death in that book. And Thalia and Annabeth and Grover, they all like tried to help Percy cope because he like felt responsible for her death. Do you guys remember that?
I do, yeah.
So
Pretty vague,
that was
but-
sort of what happened, or what I remembered in the Titan's Curse, in which he found community to help him grieve that death. And also in like the last
Actually,
Olympi-
I remember in
Okay, you're gonna cut
Kitchen,
me off, it's fine.
Yuichi not Yuichi, Chika felt like they were kind of responsible almost for the death of Eriko because
so
they
some
weren't.
responsibility.
Yeah,
going on.
they weren't
being
they
felt.
weren't there for the day that
Oh, right.
that Eriko
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when she
They felt
let
like
out her
guilty.
feelings, when she let out her feelings to Mikage, it kind of helped her move on, and it's kind of the same way that Talia, Annabeth, and Grover really helped Percy when he felt that
He was
sense of
responsible.
That's so real,
responsibility.
dude.
For her death. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. So just
In summary.
in conclusion,
Yeah.
overall,
It's kind of like community really helps with grief. We saw that with Eriko and Mikage going both ways, and really with just
Yeah.
all the campers
In
helping
both
each
deaths.
other. Everyone finding friends and people that just really, really helped each other out. Dealing
Yeah.
with never knowing one of their parents.
and it helped them like discover things about themselves, like the cooking, and that
Yeah.
Percy's like strong.
Yeah, just kind of all their talents. Whether it be like supernatural talents like Percy, or just like
Or a career.
a career,
Cooking,
like Mikage
yeah.
with cooking. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. We're glad
It's
to
been
have you
good.
here.
It's been very fun. This has been Will Malone. It's been a great joy to be talking about this topic. Great opportunity to be able to be here with you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next one. I'll see you then.
Signing
This
off.
is Ben Kashkarian signing off.
And who are you?
Lawson Barnes signing
Lawson
off.
Barnes. Let's do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. All right, bye.